go. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to another day of the Brothers of Legacy. I'm your host, A.D. Walker. Push it to grow, to motivate. I appreciate you guys for rocking and hanging with us. We're going to have a wonderful conversation. I hope my man Ephraim comes through because I need him in this conversation. This one is going to be juicy and good. It's going to be a good conversation. And so talking about, are we looking at things wrong? And if you didn't know, today, February 1st, it is the beginning of Black History Month. I know, I'm black all year round. What does it matter? February 1st. But this is the month that we celebrate or focus the most on our history, our Black history. Of course, we should always at least know it all the time, but this is the time to focus on it. And so with that, we're going to be discussing finances. We're going to be talking about race in this conversation. And are we looking at things wrong? I was watching a good YouTube that spoke about, had a gentleman that wrote a book, a Jewish gentleman that wrote about kind of like the secrets to Jews' wealth. And it's interesting. And some other stuff I looked at. And it's crazy how he kind of broke down like a little bit of why they're wealthy, because it's funny, they weren't trying to share too much because they wanted to get the book. I'm probably gonna get it and dig into that just to kind of see some of their habits, some of the ways and things that they do. But yeah, I'm trying to, I don't want to get too far into it because I want my brothers to be in here when we discuss it. If they don't come through, then it'll just be me, and we're gonna really dig into it because he said something that was like super interesting, and I need you to look at it from a different perspective, a different kind of angle. Because if you're looking at it the wrong way, you're gonna take it as like a slight at Black people, but it's really interesting what he said. And so I'm gonna go ahead and kick it off. We're gonna get started. All right, boom, passes in the building. Praise the Lord. Mark should be here in a moment. We're gonna dig into it. It looks like you got a fresh new background. So let's kick it off. February 1st, Black History Month. Happy New Year, everybody. This is when our new year starts, February 1st. All right. You know how we do. Always gotta be different. All right, let's go. Let's kick this off. Let's get it going. Spliggity splat.
I want to welcome you to the Brothers of Legacy broadcast, where we are changing our community one conversation at a time, every day.
We are creating a new legacy.
Change gon' come, change gon' come, change gon' come, change gon' come, change gon' come.
A co-op has to start with ownership. Right. We have a mindset of either I want to make a lot of money or survive. Make a bunch of money or I got to figure out how to survive.
When you have a real bond, when everyone has, we come in with real expectations. Mm-hmm. Because this is covenant.
The whole thing is that we as a people, with our money and time, aren't often making this general possible, often invested in the legacy.
You're watching the Brothers of Legacy. We don't stand out. We stand up.
All right. Good morning. I like that background. I think you kind of getting nice with that. That's that looks good. I like that. That ain't no average green screen. That's good. What up, Mark?
Good morning, gentlemen. Good morning.
Sir.
Good morning.
I don't think I've ever seen Mark's head.
Right. I'm just like, you look different, buddy.
Yeah. That looks like you're brand new bald.
right. Like you gave up the ghost.
That doesn't look like you've been bald for a long time. That looks like you
Gotcha.
just became like you just cut it off.
No, yeah, this is a fresh shave right here. This is
It's a
this,
fresh
this
shave,
is
but
fresh.
have you been bald like that for the last year?
Oh man, I've been bald like this for the last
Okay.
for the last
All
12
right. So
years,
you
bro.
you clean shaved as of 6 a.m. this morning, then.
Well, as of yesterday.
Okay.
As of yesterday, I put a blade to it yesterday, so because I had some new growth coming in. Cause see, I'm gonna tell you something. I'm not bald. I'm shaved. I can grow hair.
Okay.
It just can't grow everywhere. You know what I'm saying? I
Well,
I
see,
got a
that's what I
problem.
thought about me, but that looks like really, really clean, and like you can still see a shadow on my head.
Right.
Nah,
And
see,
this is this morning.
Right.
yeah. See, what happens is this little area right here.
Right.
Yeah.
If I don't act right, then I walk around with a cul-de-sac haircut, looking like George Jefferson.
Ah,
I
you
got
got the George Jefferson
I
going
got
on. Gotcha.
I got
Gotcha.
I had that little cul-de-sac going on. I can't go out like that.
Not the cul-de-sac. Wow.
I look like a front yard that needs fertilizer.
Yeah, so you spotty. See,
Right.
mine around age 30, 31,
So,
this little area up top decided I don't want to grow no more. So it's like, I refuse. It just went on strike.
so
Wow.
I'm gonna put my wife put up, but like I'm grateful, and I don't talk. Listen, I don't talk junk because I know, my jeans can turn on me any day.
Mhm.
I'll be on here looking just like y'all with it shaved off, like So I'm grateful.
You know the problem that I have with that statement, AD. You
What's
said I don't talk junk.
Right.
Okay, I got two things to say. Number one, because you don't have to.
Right.
It's clear.
Yeah.
And number two, you sound like my perspective about big guys. Like Shaquille O'Neal
Right.
never went looking for a fight.
Ah, right.
When you know you're the biggest man in the room,
You mess with-
you don't
Right.
Right.
So on a platform with a couple of bald-headed dudes, you don't have hair when you got a full hair.
Yes,
Yeah. And then it's curly too. It's all curly.
Yeah, man, I can't listen.
Yeah.
Y'all gotta help me, man. I need Jesus because like it really bothers me how pretty his hair is.
It is. It's real pretty.
I got issues in my heart.
I mean, I ain't know. Now, don't get me wrong. I ain't soft or nothing like that. But the last time I saw Anthony, it was all long and flowing. I just wanted to run my finger through it one time, just to, I just wanted to. I was like, man, your hair pretty.
Listen, man. I'm angry about that. I know that's not what we're talking about today.
Today we're talking about are we looking at things wrong? Your perspective. So I was when
I look at my head and I look at AD's head, I see things all wrong.
I was recently watching, or yesterday I was watching a YouTube, a Jewish gentleman. He wrote a book some years ago about Jewish wealth, and kind of like how they maintain, how they gained it, or things of that nature. And he was giving a percentage of, like, in the world, there's about, he said, like less than 1% of Jews that say they're Jews. He said even the ones that say they're Jews, never of course questioned, but just in the world, not in the world, in America. And he was saying on the Forbes list, he said generally was it like Forbes 100? He said generally there's like 5 Jews that show up on the Forbes list. He said one of the biggest years, he said there was about 66 Jews that showed up on the Forbes 100 list. So he was saying but he said something interesting. Now, hear me out the way, make sure I get it right. But he was saying, he said sometimes there are people are just good at certain things, like because they grow up and it's what's taught and what's discussed and things of that nature. He said, I want you to recognize there are no Jews that play basketball. There are no Jews, that play football. He was saying there are people that just, I guess, because of neighborhood or structure or how they grow up, become great at certain things. And he wasn't talking about like brains and athletics. He was just saying it's just what's taught on what's focused on in a culture. He said, and we just happen, and he's like, we just happen to get the financial part, So I was like, that's interesting. It wasn't because he spoke about some what's his name, Thomas, like his name is, black financial genius, and he said he was a genius. And he said the black financial genius. He said normally I would just say he was a genius, but because of context and how we're kind of breaking up this conversation, that's why I put it that way. But it was a real interesting.
Black in front of it.
Yeah, well, he because he's talking about being a Jewish. I'm a Jewish guy that wrote a book about finances. Like he was just for context sake. He was saying it that way. And it's funny. He said when I go speak at places where it's like a mixed crowd and it's like no Jewish people in the audience. He said, when I want to talk about Jewish wealth, people are interested because they're just trying to figure out what did you guys do different. He said, but it's funny when I'm in a space where it's majority Jewish, maybe a little mixed. He said, when I talk about Jewish wealth, the Jewish starts slugging down in their seats like let's not talk about it, but it was a really kind of interesting conversation. I'm gonna check out the book. I think it's like Jewish wealth, like the 10 Commandments to like prosperity, something of that nature. And he wrote it like years ago. And it's, what's his name? I can see his face, but he kind of, the person who talks about finances all the time. That's real. Dave Ramsey. Dave Ramsey promotes this book. He's read it. And the guy
I think it's called Act Your Wage or something like that.
Yeah.
Act Your Wage. Yeah.
Act Your Wage. Yeah. And he got a hold of the book, and the guy was like, I was doing like 10,000 in sales. He said Dave Ramsey talked about it. I went from 100,000 to $1 million. Like he blew up his he took him to a whole nother level just by talking about the book. But I wanted to just kind of discuss, are we looking at some things wrong, right? Because we talk about Jewish wealth. We've talked about like how Spanish people come together and build things, and we struggle sometimes unifying. Can certain things be a cultural thing that we just don't focus on? Like we're in this space as Blacks, we're trying to really get better in the financial sector. You know what I'm saying? Like as a people, we're trying to come up. If Ephraim was on it, we talk about reparations. Just like we just want what's owed. But for me, I'll say, and probably Ephraim as well, we're not trying to rely on the government to just like, just pay us what we owe or do the right thing. But we're trying to build something ourselves generationally, like you are, Pastor, just trying to instill in the principles of wealth as well as show how to earn and build wealth, because we're trying to build a better generation. We don't want another generation of us to be known as ghetto or in the ghetto, like living in a poverty state, because ghetto, Black people, or one race of people living together, that's the real definition. But living in like more of a poverty state, for us to, I want us to be known as the next Jewish class, like to be, when you think of Black people, you think about wealth. Because right now, when you think about Jews, you think about wealth, and we're known more for sports and music and creative things. But it's like I would love our name to be connected to wealth or connected to money, and it's not to negate that. Listen, we're like, kind of coining a word, kind of twisting it our way, but we're the salt of the earth. We spice things up. You bring us this chicken, we spice it up, we take it to another level. You bring us something, You bring us a beat, we turn it into funk. Like we are people that are very creative. That's one thing I'll put on. We do very creatively. We take the bad pieces of a pig and turn it into food. The worst parts. We find ways to get through and make things happen. How do you guys? Go ahead.
I was just saying that's because we've grown up or we've been bred in order to survive.
Right.
Nobody's taught us how to thrive.
Right.
We've taught how to survive. Like you said, that's why we can take every part of the pig and turn it into something, because we didn't have a choice.
Right.
You understand? When people give you scraps from the table, or people leave you the parts that is supposed to be unedible,
right?
Then you make a way. If there is no way, you make a way. I know you've heard that before.
Yeah.
You make a way where there is no way.
Right.
Yeah, we are athletic. We are built differently, so that's why we do dominate sports and things like that. But I think when I hear questions like that, like well, why don't Black people have the same wealth as white folks or Jewish folks or whatever?
Right.
And I'm like, well, we can do it, but if you look at history, anytime, excuse me, anytime we've tried to do that, they destroyed it. And when I say they, I mean white people.
Right.
They've destroyed it. You look at Black Wall Street. You look at Rosewood. You look at even Oscarville, Georgia. When we build some stuff, white people destroy it. They get scared. They see the potential. They destroy it.
Right.
So I don't know if we just became content with gaining wealth through sports and entertainment, or if we became too afraid to just try it again. You know what I'm saying? So I think history has made us gun shy about trying to be in that position of generational wealth. That's just my perspective, my take on it.
Pastor, do you that's interesting. I mean, do you think is it a fear or a concern to build that way, or like I mean, we know of different like entertainers and people that have quite a bit of money, and they're building in their own particular way, like kind of separate, but they dig into their what we see anyway. I'll say it that way. But do you feel like there's a fear of it, or a concern, or I don't know, cautious walk, put it that way,
When you consider the perceived boundaries that we have?
Yeah.
The systemic boundaries?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Or do you feel like are there still boundaries? Well, we dig into that in a minute.
Listen, but the thing is, and this is just personal for me, I would be a millionaire if I didn't have so much responsibility.
Okay. Interesting.
I know it's like you're waiting for that. Like, what does he mean?
Yeah, I'm waiting on that one myself.
I think I know, but
I don't know. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm waiting on that one.
If I calculate how much money I've made,
right,
over the last 20 years,
right,
because I've been in the 6-figure bracket for 20 years,
right, yeah.
So I've made it.
Yeah, true.
But I had bills to pay.
Right.
I didn't make all the right decisions with investments. I made some good, some bad. I've gained, but I've lost more than I've gained.
Yeah, I was just about to ask you that.
Right. But being a multimillionaire was never the motivation, was never the driver.
Okay.
The driver was to be able to take care of my family.
Right.
I didn't start out saying, "Oh, I want to be rich." I didn't start out saying, I want to be a multimillionaire, or else I probably would have went into stock brokerage, been on Wall Street,
Okay.
because I didn't have the wherewithal. I didn't, you know what I mean?
I got you.
So the,
I
the,
got
the
you.
question really is, because for those who are chasing money, they get the money.
Right. Well, I mean, I guess if you chase it, you'll get it. But yeah, but at what cost? Right.
If you're willing to go do what's necessary to get the bag, you're gonna get the bag.
Right.
That's principle.
Yeah.
Whatsoever a man thinketh, so is he.
Yeah.
It doesn't say whatsoever a saved man, a sanctified man. It says whatsoever a man thinketh.
Right. So is he.
The Bible says, "Give and it shall be given unto you." That doesn't say saved folks give and it shall. It says give.
Right.
So the principles of buying and selling work for anybody.
Right.
Right.
The principle of seed and harvest work for anybody.
Yes.
Right.
Indeed.
My dad has said even drug dealers pay tax.
Right. Right.
But what I'm saying is, when we talk about wealth, I think you really have to, because don't get me wrong, I'd love to wake up and see several $1 million worth of excess capital in my account that I can do whatever I want to do with.
Right.
I'm just not in that position. Could I be? Absolutely, with enough focus and attention.
Right.
But at what cost?
Right. Right. True.
At this point, because it's never been the amount of dollars I have in the bank as my motivator. It's been, can I take care of my family?
Right. Hey, good morning, Deborah.
Right.
Right.
So for anybody, like if you want to go make $1 million, you can go figure out a way to make $1 million. Nobody's stopping you from doing that.
That's true.
Nobody.
100%. Right.
There's no system. There's no person. There's nothing that is preventing you from getting access to $1 million.
Just to pause real quick. If anybody, how you feel, as he talking. I mean, I agree with him. If you feel like, I don't think so. I think there's this, and this holding us back or in our way. Feel free to put it up. Let's have an open conversation, open dialogue.
Somebody tell me that there's no way you can make $1 million, and I'll tell you that's why you don't have it.
Mike says they allow us to live when we gain money from sports and entertainment because they can still make money, I guess, off of us in sports and entertainment. But so I mean, are you saying, Michael, that we are still systematically unable to really gain wealth in other ways, to buck the system or to do things, are we still oppressed in that sense? Yeah.
The answer to that is no, we're not. The reality is it's tough, it's challenging, but it's not impossible.
Right.
It may not be as easy for us as it is for others, but it's not impossible anymore.
Right.
Well, it's never been impossible. It's just been tough. And there are degrees of how tough it has been. And so I would say that there's more opportunity now than there was 100 years ago.
True. All right. Sam says, there are definitely obstacles, but that's like the only way. There are no obstacles when you're doing nothing. Right. Right.
Yeah.
It says when we rise and other way we face death consequences as a whole. I don't know.
Well, I think there's always going to be a threat
at certain levels. Yeah. I don't, and I've said this before, like, I don't believe in the overarching, as we used to say, the man is keeping me down. I mean, I believe there are sectors of spaces that, folks that we like with Pastor and IT, there's sectors that we're not totally represented in. And if you're growing, there may be a threat from a particular space, like one company or person saying, they're getting a little, we don't have these faces in here. Why is he here? Like maybe
Listen, I've been in IT for
personal space.
Yeah, I've been in corporate America for over 30 years. I've been in the IT industry for over 30 years.
Right.
And I'm saying I can't think of a time where I was in a room, in a meeting, in a formal setting, where there wasn't at least one person who didn't think I belonged there.
Of course.
I don't. Every meeting I've been in corporate America for the last 30 years of my life, I've been a minority in. Okay, and I stopped giving attention to it.
Okay. Did it used to bother you?
It not only did it used to bother me, but it was shown to me. It was expressed. It used to be expressed to me. It used to be blatant.
Wow.
You know, so but again, if I got stuck on the antagonizers,
Yeah.
I would have never been successful.
Right.
The antagonizers haven't gone anywhere.
Right.
In fact, a lot of them I have outlasted in this industry.
Gotcha.
But that's because I took my eyes off of them.
Right.
And I redirected my attention to my priorities.
Right.
Which is I got to take care of my family.
Right.
So when it comes to my career, when it comes to making money, it's all about taking care of my family. It's about survival.
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Absolutely, Samantha.
Hold on.
It can happen in a room.
Oh.
There are people that look like
us.
That's the worst.
Right.
The worst situation.
Like can we all just get along?
Get along.
You know, like, we all go in the same direction. We're all trying to build the same things. Mike said the greatest prison you'll ever be in is the bars of your mind. Indeed, change your mindset, you will change your life set. Definitely. And he's
but when you're talking about wealth and finance and our place in the world, and when you're talking about the cultural differences, you know, you opened up talking about
I was just about to say,
you know, to me, culturally, when you think of culture and finance,
right,
how we are perceived is not who we are.
Okay. Let me get. What's up, Ephraim? Good morning.
What's going on?
Right.
Morning, E.
What's going on, big homie?
Can't call it.
Right. What is perceived?
Does that make sense?
A lot. Yeah, indeed.
Because
Definitely.
as a culture, I've never lived in a culture where there was a broke mindset. To me, that ain't black culture.
Right.
There are people with broken mindsets that happen to be black.
Right. Exactly.
But a broke mindset ain't never been the culture of black.
Right. Let's see. Okay, and what Sam Pastor mentioned said, but that can happen in a room full of people that look like me. Keita said, hey, good morning, Keita. In my position in the automotive business, there isn't many black women yet along black people. You have
let
to
alone black people, yeah.
Let alone black people. We have to press past that and just do and be you. Yes, indeed.
Right.
Sam said,
in a lot of cases, when you take your mind off of the systemic issues,
right,
it opens up opportunity for success.
Yeah.
Because what you're doing is you're taking the excuses away. I'm not going to allow your systemic barriers to be my excuse for failure.
Right.
I have to overcome many things in my life, in my family, where I was raised, in addition to the systemic issues that try to hold us down.
Yeah.
But I have to overcome those things, just like I got to overcome the fact that I overslept this morning.
Right.
Everything, you know, all obstacles have to be overcome.
Right.
But I can't use an obstacle as an excuse for my failure. I'm not ignoring that they exist.
Right.
But I can't live my life using it as an excuse.
But how much credence do you give it? When does it start? When does it end? Because you, like you said, you're not ignoring it, so it does exist. You got to mention it, but where does it start and where does it end?
I can't. But see, the thing is, like I can recognize. We can have conversations about the degrees of challenges, right? But in my mind, I have the mindset of I'm going to do it anyway. So I can't get caught up in how much. Because here's the thing.
Okay.
The best way that I can look, the best way that I can put this is, I'm 5'8" all day long.
Okay.
All day. And in 8th grade, I was 4'11". All right.
All right.
Which means for the greater part of my life, I've been the short guy.
Right.
I'm so glad I'm taller than my wife. Right?
Right.
But the reality is, can you imagine how many times I've been counted out because I wasn't tall?
Yeah.
Right. Right.
Right?
Yeah. Indeed.
But my wife, when my wife met me, within 2 months of meeting me,
Right.
she would talk to her friends and say, I want to introduce you to this giant that I met.
Right. Right.
And anytime I would meet one of her friends or something, they'd be like, girl, you said a giant. I thought he was like 6'5" or something. You understand?
Right.
Yeah.
In other words, as short as I am,
Yeah.
I maintain the mindset of a giant.
Mm-hmm.
So when people interact with me, they're no longer paying attention to my height.
Right.
And those that are stuck on my height are stuck on the external, and they don't know me very well. And the only reason that can be is because I present myself in a way that gets you off of my height and onto my stature.
Right.
Which means I've never let my height be a limitation, even though it has been a great limitation.
Okay. Let me ask you this though. So like the height is something you can do nothing about.
Right.
Unless they moving to, them cosmetic surgery to make your knees grow out. Who knows what they got out there right now? But I'm saying you can do nothing about that, right? All right.
But
So
I'm gonna cut you off. I'm gonna stop you right there before you go any further.
Yeah.
Because the same way I can't do anything about my height, I can't change the color of my skin.
True.
So the only thing I can do is work in a way that my skin color is no longer relevant. And if you're still stuck on my skin color, if you're still stuck on my skin color, listen, if you're still stuck on my skin color, that's your limitation, not mine.
Right. Well, okay. But you're talking about things that you cannot change. Right. So I agree on that. They still have to overcome, you still have to do. Well, I just about to say you can't be a woman turned to a man, but I'm saying you are what you are. Right. You are what you are.
Right.
And Sammy Sosa and Michael Jackson changed their skin too. So, but I'm saying this, you got to work on that. You got to overcome that as an individual. Right. But I do believe that and we can argue about who should do it, elected officials, us, community leaders, pastors, whatever. Right. But you work on making you better. But it also needs to be somebody who addresses systemic racism, who addresses the things wrong with the system. Because I'm with you. You can't continue to use it as an excuse. Right. But if we know it exists, why can't we also have a set of us working on it to eliminate it? If they're going to push testing on our kids and all third graders they know going to go to jail by 8th grade or whatever these crazy statistics are out there, why don't we have somebody also working on the system? Why can't
let me ask you this, Pastor? And I know like it's always easy to look at it from the outside or situations afterwards, right? Is it worth addressing? Like, when a comment is made, and, you get the what I call the intelligent comment that's just you like kind of like one of the moments like, why would you ask me that? Like what made you ask me that? Like is it worth confronting like that? Like I always say in my mind, and I'm not like the tough guy like that. But I always just wonder, is it worth confronting like that? Because I know more than 9 times out of 10 or 10 out of 10, I'm not going to change this person's mind that I'm talking to having this confrontation. But maybe I can affect the folks that are around him. Like, this ain't cool. This ain't cool. Have you ever had a moment that you're like, you know what? Today's not the day. I'm saying something. This ain't just gonna go down like it has.
Are you my brother Anthony Walker asking Brian McCrory? Me? Have I ever said Today,
I mean, and I know, and I want to hear because I know you've had situations, and I know like when you begin in a job, you're like, I need a job. I might let this one slide, you know, like. But have
okay,
you know,
gotcha. All right, quick story. 1991. I'm in a shelter.
Okay.
right,
Mm.
I'm trying to get a job. I get a job,
Okay.
and the location of the job is 30 minutes from the shelter.
okay,
My only mode of transportation, I worked a third shift, a night shift, 11 at night to 7 in the morning.
right,
So my first day, I got a ride to work. I met a couple of guys on the job
right,
who gave me a ride home, 7 o'clock the next morning.
right,
Pickup truck, rebel flag
right.
in the truck, shotgun hanging up in the window in the truck.
Mhm.
2 white guys,
Right.
beard, dirty baseball caps.
Right.
You know, one of them had a gas station emblem on the front. Other one might have said Ford. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm 5'8".
Still. Yeah.
They 6 feet, both of them.
Right.
Look like they drink a lot of beer.
Right.
Right? Now,
Mhm.
what was offered to me is, hey man, I'll pick you up for work if you need a ride. Just be out here 10:15. We'll be right here to pick you up, take you on to work. I need a ride to work. I don't have a car.
Right. Right.
They pick me up.
Mm-hmm.
I have to sit in the middle.
Wow.
5'8".
Yeah.
They're
Yeah,
talking back and forth.
Right.
They have no problem using the N-word.
Mm.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Lord, really?
Yeah.
I got to get to work.
Got
I got to get out of this shelter.
Right.
Yeah. That's the
Excuse
situation.
my French.
Right.
How many rides to work do you think I got from those guys?
One.
I'm about to say, yeah,
Nope.
one.
No, several.
I wish I could say that.
Right. Right.
I rode to work with those guys for like 2 months.
Did you get out that shelter?
I got out of the here's the thing. Before I got out of the shelter, I got out of that truck.
Yeah, I feel you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. I was able to get on another shift and get a different ride to work.
Right.
Because I prayed. I said, Lord, you know, I got to take care of my family. I don't want to disappear, but I can't ride in this truck like this.
Yeah.
I can't. I like this. This is not what I'm made of. I can't do this.
Right.
But I got to
Right.
work.
Right.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
The Lord said, hold your peace. I'm going to get you out of the truck.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't going to change those guys' mindset. I was going to end up disappearing.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
So to ask me, have I ever? Oh, yeah. Has there ever been a case where I wanted to say something and couldn't? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. What about the moments that you did say something, or did you, yeah? What was I know you said something. What was the moment that you did say something like I said, and the difference between the guys in the truck and corporate America, the guys in the truck, they don't care. They just, who we like, we don't like.
They don't even realize how foul what they're doing
And that's
is because it's their culture.
Right.
Right. Nothing is wrong with them.
Because it's not like,
Nothing.
because
Them giving you a ride is the reason they think they ain't racist.
right.
Oh yeah, I give niggas rides all the time. Right?
and using the phrase "excuse my French," I'm like, last time I checked, that's English.
Yeah.
But
it's not like they were intentionally doing it. They were having just regular conversation.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, like, do y'all not see me? And the reality is, they didn't see me.
I was just about to say they didn't say,
Yeah.
Right. So there was like what I was going to do to prove a point at that time was only going to hurt me because it showing up wasn't going to help them.
Yeah.
But you ever, okay, pause on that for a minute, right? You ever think, like, because it's been such an ingrained culture that, like a conversation or somehow, like somebody's explaining something to you and you're like, I don't understand why you feel that way. And then they give you a great analogy or something and like, oh, I see what you're saying. You know what I'm saying? Like, do you feel like the portion there's a lot of portion of America that don't look like us, that if they just sat down, if we had a conversation, that they can kind of see it differently. But because they grew up a certain way, they look at us, they're like, I grew up this way.
How long ago was it? How long ago was it, AD, that I gave you the story about? I reminded you the story of David and Bathsheba.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
David didn't know what he looked like until the prophet came to him.
Right.
Hey, there was once a rich man and a poor, and a poor man, and this man had, one sheep. The rich man had all his sheep. A visitor came to town, and instead of taking from his flock to feed the man, he took from the poor man's one sheep, and gave it to him. And the prophet asked David, what should become of the rich man? He said, you should kill him dead.
Yeah.
Right? Because he should have took from his own instead of taking the one thing that the poor man had and used it.
Right.
And the prophet said, you're the rich man.
Right. You on me?
Yeah.
Right. There are many cases where a story like that has to be told to make you get a clearer view or perspective of your behavior.
Right.
And you understand it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But what I'm saying is there's a time and a season for that as well. So when I was in that truck, that was not the time to be talking about race.
No, I know.
The audience.
Not the audience. Right?
Yeah. And the thing is, it took years for me to be able to tell that story.
Because how you feel
I had to forgive myself.
Yeah.
Right.
As a black man.
Right. I should raise the bar. Right. I should have did something. Yeah.
And then you hear people say, what about the people? Yeah, if I could have been a slave.
I think the Bible talks about time and place as well. So,
yeah.
But
and you talked about regrets. That's what I'm saying. A couple days ago, those are the type of things you doing what you had to do that kind of come back to play. Like, if I would have played it any other way, would I be here today?
Right.
Anthony, but again, I think the confidence that I speak with today is because of living through experiences
stuff like that.
Yeah. It ain't because I stood up and told him where he could go or beat him down. No, it's because of having to go through the humility. That I've grown and I've learned there's a time and a place because there was a larger purpose.
Right. So I think the question should be for this show. It shouldn't. I don't guess it should be, or instead of saying, "Are we looking at things wrong?" I think the question is, "Are we looking at things differently?"
Right.
Are we looking at things differently? Because I think it's all about perspective and it's all about experience.
Yes.
And so
that's why black people.
Yeah.
Do you see what's behind me? You see what's behind me?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What does it say?
It looks like grace.
Yeah, how did you know that? Because I moved my head and you saw the full word.
No, I when you started talking, I was looking at the G and the E.
That boy's smart. I didn't know.
You didn't know.
I was gonna raise my hand at the end.
Yeah, and here's the thing: both y'all can see the same picture, but you both saw it differently.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Because sometimes grace is hidden. And it has to be exposed. Sometimes understanding is hidden and it has to be exposed. How can they hear without a preacher? How can he preach except it be sent? Sean Rollins just put up there, he said, I figured it out because I know who you are. So who I am painted this picture. It had nothing to do with the picture, but everything you know about me.
Context clue. Yeah.
Right.
So let me.
So to Mark's point,
Right.
changing how can we see things differently, or can we even accept the fact that someone else sees it differently than we see it?
Yeah.
Right.
True.
Right.
That's true. That's it as well. Do you think so? Let me throw this out there. Do you think it's more of a perspective problem than a race problem?
It's
It's
both.
definitely
Because it is a race problem, it becomes a perspective problem.
Yeah. It starts at race.
You know,
Right.
right. It starts at race. So because white folks got a way of looking at stuff, we
Right.
got a way of looking at stuff.
Right.
Asian folks
Yeah.
got a way of looking at stuff,
Yeah.
and so forth and so on.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, and it starts with race because every race has a different perspective.
And based on Mark's
I would
point,
challenge
you gonna nah, but on Mark's point, you're gonna raise your kids that way. If I see the world this way, I'm gonna raise you through this perspective.
Exactly.
Because racism is just learned behavior. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because
It
every
is.
parent, whether you agree or not, every parent
I don't
is
think it
giving their
starts
kid
with
what's
race.
best.
I don't
You
think it starts with race.
It starts at perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. It starts with how you see me.
But you see,
Right.
you see me
Because
black.
no, because the minute
Yeah.
you see me differently,
Yes.
is what causes you to change the definition of who I am.
Right. You define me
You
before you
decide
know.
that I'm no longer a man.
Right.
You decide that I'm a black man because
Right.
I'm not the same color as you.
Well, that too.
So
But
your
but,
perspective,
but
that's
you're
in your
talking
head.
about
differently.
Yeah.
but you're talking about a notion versus reality.
Mhm.
We're talking about a notion versus it kind of is.
Okay, break it
Because
down
what-
there, Mark.
Because what you're saying is that's good. Like the notion you're saying, yes, see me as a person, see me as a human being. Yes, that is a noble notion. But what is the
Right.
reality? The reality is we're taught to look at race. We are.
Right.
And here's the thing: white people teach their kids about race, and because of that, black people say, "Listen, man, white folks don't like us. Historically,
Right.
we're not liked. We're hated by white
Right.
people. So guess
Right.
what? We gotta watch white people differently."
Right. Yes.
So it is
Yes.
it is a notion
That is.
versus a reality.
All right. So here's the reality for you.
The sociologist in me,
Mhm.
because that's what I do. I have a degree in sociology, so I've studied society and how people ambulate within that society and within their cultures and within their subcultures. So yeah, so to me that is a notion versus reality.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Great point. The different perspective than where I'm coming from, but it's a great point. May I read a scripture?
Sure.
Read the book.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Let's go to the beginning of perspective in
Right.
my mind. Genesis chapter 4.
What it say?
Genesis chapter 4 and verse 1.
Right.
And Adam knew Eve, his wife,
Right.
and she conceived and bare Cain,
Mhm.
and said, I have gotten a man from the Lord.
Right.
And she again bare his brother Abel,
Mhm.
and Abel was a keeper of sheep,
Uh-huh.
but Cain was a tiller of the ground.
Okay.
So they both did two different things.
Right.
Right.
And in the process of time, it came to pass that Cain brought of the fruit of the ground an offering unto the Lord. And Abel, he also brought of the firstling of his flock and of the fat thereof. And the Lord had respect unto Abel and his offering.
Okay.
But unto Cain and his offering, he had not respect.
Okay.
He saw Cain's offering different than he saw Abel's.
Right.
And Cain got mad, and his countenance fell. And the Lord said, Cain, why are you mad? And why is that countenance fallen? If thou doest well, shall you not be accepted? So God had a problem with Cain's offering.
Right.
And called him out on it.
Gotcha.
Which caused Cain to see Abel's offering different.
Okay.
Cain lost sight of the fact that Abel was his brother and killed his brother because God saw something different. From that moment on, there was a division, and it had nothing to do with the color of their skin. It had everything to do with perspective. Yes,
no.
sir.
Okay.
Oh no.
You saw two things differently.
Went around
Okay.
on that one.
You're gonna
Okay.
tell me that God didn't see a difference between what Abel did and what Cain did? You're going to tell me that because God saw a difference between what Cain did and what Abel did, that it didn't cause Cain to see his brother differently than he saw him before the offering?
I don't think God is the central character in that situation. In terms of what we're talking about, I don't think God is the central character in that situation in terms of what we're talking about. I think we're talking about Cain.
Listen. You said you don't think God is the central character.
Right.
Listen to what I'm saying to you.
Okay.
Listen to what I'm saying to you. Cain and Abel had two different assignments. Who gave them the assignments?
God did.
God did.
God? Or did Adam, their father?
Mm.
Who gave Cain his job? Who gave Abel his job?
Okay. Right.
You think God talked to Cain and talked to Abel?
No.
Adam did.
Okay. Right. All right.
I mean, I see where you're going with it. I don't know. Oh, I say it like this. I see what you're saying and the validity of it. I don't know if that proves perspective before the racism piece for me. But I see where you're going. I see how you painted it though.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing. You and like I said, it's a great point.
It does not agree with your narrative.
No, it's a great point. It's a great point, Pastor. I think and you did prove your point to a degree. But here's the thing: you're taking both examples out of the same bucket. Like they're from the same family. What would have happened? Here's the thing. What would have happened if Cain and Abel were not brothers? If they were from different tribes, if they were from different families.
Wait. Now, let me ask you something.
Okay.
How did the first division between man happen? How did we come up with tribes?
This right here.
We came up with the whole concept of tribes because of differences in the way we see things, differences in perspective. God said are two God said you're going to give birth to two sons,
right?
And each son is going to represent a different nation,
right?
What birthed the perspective then?
Huh?
What birthed the perspective? What birthed me seeing you?
Listen, okay. Let me just read on just a couple of more verses and try to help with that. If thou doest well, shalt thou not be accepted. If thou doest not well, sin lies at the door, and unto you shall be his desire, and thou shalt rule over him. Who's he talking? Who's ruling over who? If sin is at your door, he's saying one person is going to serve another person because of sin.
Right.
Am I right?
Right.
Okay.
I mean, that's scripture.
Yeah.
And Cain talked with Abel, his brother, and it came to pass when they were in the field that Cain rose up against Abel, his brother, and slew him.
Mm-hmm.
Who changed Cain's vision of his brother?
I don't know if a person. I don't know if somebody changed it. I think that's what he took from a thing. Are you trying to say?
Yeah, I think
God's all different.
Can I interject? Can I interject?
Go ahead,
something, please, and I'll make this minimal. Listen, let's. I heard this in my consciousness. I don't know if I want to necessarily say it was the Lord, but I heard this in my consciousness where it said, let's put this into context.
Okay.
All right. Let's put it into context. What Pastor is saying is correct. However, what we are discussing, let's put it into the context of the last 100 years.
All right.
Okay. Now, like I said, those were Bible days. We don't live there anymore.
Right.
Okay. But if we can take something that's happened over the last 100 years, or think the way things have been over the last 100 years,
right, then
let's put it into context.
That's good.
What Pastor's saying is correct. Perspective versus race, but wasn't but one race back then.
Right.
We have several now. And for the past 100 years, we've had 100 different races.
Right.
So we put it into context. So so over the past 100 years, yes, I will say from a social science standpoint, it's been race versus race before perspective.
Right.
If we're putting things into context.
So let's put that statement into context.
Okay.
Because in order to fix what you deem as broken, you said over the last 100 years, right? according to social science, it's been race first.
Right.
Right.
But in order to prepare to reverse it from being race first, what has to change?
The perspective.
But that doesn't mean race.
I don't. I hear
race,
you.
No, what I'm saying is, I'm saying race.
I'm with you,
for
Mark.
the last 100 years,
It's
race
been race.
generates the perspective.
Yeah.
Which means you have to get to the root.
But they've been raising
Which
kids.
means you got to get to the root of the problem. Which means if in order for it to change, you have to get to the root of the problem. And the root of the problem is not the color of my skin. It's what you think about the color of my skin, brothers.
Yes, that's what I agree with. Like I'm with the perspective.
That's fair.
Well, in that case, is race and perspective are one and the same. If we're looking at it that way,
no,
you know what I'm saying?
Because if that's the case, no, Mark. If that's the case,
right.
I could never be a black man living in Locust Grove looking down my nose at a black man living in Decatur.
Say more.
Because we both black.
Okay. Right.
Now my perspective is based on his economic position.
Okay, but we're still, like I said, that's pulling from the same bucket. What I'm saying is, everybody, well, I don't know everybody, but we all know W.E.B. Du Bois talk about the double-minded consciousness. He was like, you can look at yourself as an American, but black people, we have to be double-minded in our consciousness because we have to look at ourselves as black people in America, not just Americans. We have to look at ourselves as black people. We're black first. Even W.E.B. Du Bois, who is one of a renowned social scientist, said we have to look at ourselves in this America. In the last 100 years, we got to look at ourselves as black people first.
But wouldn't that be? But that would be because of the perspective of black people in America.
But we doing
that people look at black people.
No, but it's based off how white people have perceived us and treated us and engaged us.
Right.
So here's the thing. So like I said, it could be interchangeable because our double consciousness says, yeah, you're an American, but before you can walk out there as an American, dude, you are black. Before you are anything else, you are black.
Yeah, and that was.
I told my.
That's a great perspective. What you're talking about is conformity.
To what?
To society, to society, to where you live. What you're saying is, if you want to reduce the risk of bad things happening to you before you walk out your door, make sure you understand you're walking out this door as a black man so that you can be prepared for how you get treated.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's called conformity.
Yeah.
That's conforming to the societal structure.
How do you call that conformity?
That might be reality.
But remember, I said it's reality. It has become our reality now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, I'm not saying that it's not.
But we agreeing on the points. But it's.
I'm not saying it's not reality, brother. But that does not make it. That does not exclude the fact that it's conformity. Because what Du Bois was saying is, if you want to make it in this world, if you want to get out there, here's what you're going to have to contend with. Because they're going to see you black first. Which means you better recognize your blackness before you go out there, or you will be confused when you go outside these doors and face this world, because that's how they're going to view you.
Conformity seems a little strong for me, though. That
conformity messes with your pride, bro. That's it. But the reality is, you teach your children. Walk me
down that street a little bit.
We teach our young boys to be careful when you go outside, because you black,
and it's real.
And it's real.
But that
sounds like survival.
So I got to teach you. I got to teach you how to survive in this world we live in.
Well,
no. If you go in the jungle and get bit by a snake, that wasn't conformity.
No, but listen. Let me throw this out there. So it's like you get pulled over by the police, right? You know you ain't do nothing wrong. You right? Your rights say question. Why did he pull me over? Your rights say something to this police officer. Why did you pull me over? What was the reasoning? I'm within my rights. And, we know parts of the law. Conformity says, shut up. It's dark. Take this ticket.
They don't even say that.
Home.
That's extreme. No. Conformity says, I want to make it home.
Right. I'm just saying, I want to make it home. I'm gonna put my hands on this wheel. I'm gonna give this dude my license, take this ticket.
But AB, I feel you can do both. I feel you can take your keys out, put them on top of your car. Hello, Miss Officer. You can question while using survival tactics. Maybe it's my pride, but conformity sounds too strong for me. It sounds too strong.
It is hard. It's a hard word.
In a world where you are just doing what it takes to survive. It doesn't sound like you perform. It sounds like you live it. I think what Du Bois was talking about was this is how it's unfortunate, but this is how you have to live.
Yeah, you have to conform if you want to survive.
I don't know. That's.
I don't know if I like. Honestly, I don't know if I like. I don't know if I agree with the word conform.
Right. You don't have, listen. All you have to do is okay. Let's do this because y'all can't be more prideful than I am. Right? I'm so serious, man. The reality is when it comes to survival, and that's all I'm talking about. You look at it like conformity. Here it is.
What is it? I was just about to ask Google.
Compliance with standards, rules, or laws, conformity to regulations, behavior in accordance with socially accepted conventions or standards.
Right.
What's the definition of survival?
Y'all call it a hard word, but I call it reality. Right. Define the behavior. It's well-defined, well-documented behavior. A black man is not going to act the same way as a white man when he gets pulled over.
Right.
And he knows that because he knows the standards aren't the same.
Right.
When I get pulled over, I know I'm getting pulled over as a black man.
Okay.
So my actions are going to be different than a white man. So I'm conforming to what I believe is going to help me survive.
Right.
Okay.
And if I don't, I'm at a higher risk of something dangerous happening and me not making it home. Right. That is conformity, brothers. We don't have to like it, but that doesn't make it any less true.
Yeah.
It doesn't make you less than a man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Marx said when you consider the social science of it all, it's undeniable.
Right. All right. So
and the problem we have is nobody wants to deal with the truth of the matter because our pride gets in the way.
Right.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And thank you, Cheryl, is all perspective.
You messing with me today, Pastor.
It's good though. Listen, because I mean, and we're gonna get out of here, but I think if we can shift a lot of the perspective, because and listen, and what you call it, and Rollins put something good. He said, shoot, how we treat ourselves, we get worried and nervous around other black people. There have been times, but it's a perspective of what we even seen so much of our people that it like, you're not that way. Like, why can't we think the best of all of our people? You know what I'm saying?
And no offense to anybody who live in Decatur, but all y'all know, wait a minute, people feel a certain way.
It's great indicator though.
Right. I'm about to say that too.
Yeah, that term was coined because they want you to think differently about Decatur.
Right. Perspective.
Change your perspective about Decatur.
Yes, indeed. All right, so we appreciate you guys rocking and hanging with us. We had a great conversation. Make sure you are staying connected to us. Text LWN to 84576. Text LWN to 84576. Never miss a broadcast. And today is Tuesday, so tonight at 7:00, we got Solomon Temple Christian Ministries Bible study coming up, as well as 8:30. The Sisters of Legacy will be in the building. All right, so we look forward to seeing you guys tonight. As always, continue to stay safe, continue to do the right thing, wear those masks. I know, don't like them, but it is what it is. And we look forward to seeing you guys in the morning. Always know that we love you. God loves you more. God loves you more. And like I said, continue to stay safe. All right, so we'll see you in the AM. Peace. If I can find a thing. There we go. As always, we love you. Know that God loves you more. Stay safe. Thank you guys for rocking, hanging, being. Make sure to sharing is caring. All of my replay peoples that watch in the background that I know see.